So, borrowing a page from Amy Grant's book, Wonderful Counselor, what if you were talking to God personally? What would you say? Like, Erica, I realize that you need some help. So what brings you here today? Lord, life has not worked out as well as I had hoped. I was always pro-life, and yet the first time I posted a pro-life message, it was on MySpace. I got all these horrible responses that were really horrible, that they had to delete the accounts of the people that were saying, I said, it's wrong. And then my oldest son, he said, well, I don't know what to say about him. I always believed in life. I always loved life. I always wanted to have babies, but the babies just turn on you like little serpents in the garden or something. Like you're gardening and a little serpent comes up and bites you in the butt. What? I just gave you life. I didn't give you all the answers, right? Maybe God feels the same way. Now, can we talk? We can talk. I was asking you to just work things out in your own psyche, in your own psychology, just kind of work it out. If you have problems, we will deal with these problems. Don't give up hope. I'm not the one to ever give up hope. I never would do that. I used to bury myself in books. I would just read books, read. I don't like Stephen King and I don't like Dean Koontz because I don't like horror schlock, that kind of stuff. To me, it's not appealing. However, recently I have buried myself in true crime. The shows, not the books. The shows are good because you have real people saying real things. I know they're over-edited. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they have left out, I'm sure. Someday we'll discover what they've left out of these things. Do you think that suicide is a crime? It actually is murder of oneself. Suicide. Side means murder. Sue means yourself. Homicide means killing another person. Matricide, killing a mother. Patricide, killing a father. Suicide, killing yourself. So it is a crime. It really is a crime that my brother died, and we don't know. We don't have the answers. My parents told me every bone in his body was shattered when he jumped off that building. Did somebody push him? Please come forward if you know information. His ashes and my mother's ashes are right now on a metal shelf in the basement of my father's house. I can't afford to give them a proper burial. I am an impoverished woman who's had 9 children, and apparently at least 3 of them really don't like me. I'm like, what was it all for? I'm seriously, why do you even have sex in the first place? Just to have children that don't like you? They're just like, I gave you life. I carried you for 9 months. You're like, she's not good enough. Well, I am not good enough. I freely admit that I am not good enough. You know who's good enough? Jesus. He was the only human being who came to the earth, and he lived a sinless life. That is what the Bible tells us. I believe what the Bible says. There are a few verses which we don't... There are many, like, books of the Bible that I don't even like to read. It's like, Lamentations and We can read the Psalms. Psalms are great. Psalms are wonderful. And yet, David? That's the kind of guy that today would be in prison because he actually set up the murder of his lover's husband. He actually set him up. He really doesn't deserve to have this place of honor in the Bible, and yet he does. I don't understand that. My husband used to say, David, he's kind of a jerk. And when you look back on it, him committing adultery and trying to cover it up, well, I'm pregnant. Oh. Why are you taking a bath on the roof? Who takes a bath on a roof? I mean, that's just, I don't know. I can't relate to the ancient Middle East. I don't know. But Clarence takes a bath anywhere he wants to because he's covered with fur. It's not indecent whenever he gives himself a bath. So Bathsheba did become pregnant, and then the baby died. And David was really prostrate before the Lord. He was cognizant of his sins. How can somebody do that? I can't. You won't know the severity of your sin until you lose something that really meant a lot to you. So Bathsheba was one of many wives. She was taking a bath. Bathsheba. It's so ridiculous, but it's true. At the end of his days, David was in a bed, and he had to have like a little teenage girl lying next to him. You're tempted to say what a perv, but apparently he didn't have, anything untoward happening in that bed with the yuck. It's disgusting. Sorry, but David wrote the Psalms. He's great. Whatever. Really? Is he? But are his sins worse than ours? We think, well, I'm not as bad as David. If you were in that situation, I'm just offended by the whole notion of some woman just bathing herself on a rooftop for everybody to look at her. She seems like an exhibitionist to me, so I'm not a fan of Bathsheba. And for David to fall prey that easily, I'm a little bit perplexed. But, to each his own. So if I were in a counseling session with God, what would he say? Erica, are you clean and sober? I would say, no, apparently not. Neither clean nor sober. And yet, I'm at the top of my game. In the midst of suffering, I'm at the top of my game. No, I'll probably never be a famous writer and possibly never a famous broadcaster, but at the same time, I'm at the top of my game. Not to brag. Not to brag at all. I feel very confident that what I'm saying is good and it's right. And it's true, and it could get a few people saved that might otherwise have gone to hell. Wouldn't it be great to snatch one person out of hell's fire, let alone 3 or 4 people, maybe more? What if you snatched one person out of hell? The impending doom. What an accomplishment that would be. because as a Christian, we remember the parable, correct? The parable of the lost sheep. It's the one I'm going after. It's not the ones that are part of the flock, it's the one that's lost, and I have found them.